All right, let's talk about cracking the IELTS speaking test. If you've ever had that feeling, that knot in your stomach, trying to sound fluent while also getting every single grammar point perfect, well, you're in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to take all that anxiety and turn it into a super clear, confident strategy.
So, this is it, right? The question that keeps pretty much every IELTS candidate up at night. Should you focus on sounding smooth and natural even if you slip up a little? Or do you build every sentence perfectly, piece by piece, even if it makes you sound kind of slow, almost like a robot? It feels like you just can't win.
You know what this is? This is what I call the IELTS trap. It's this false idea that you have to pick one or the other, fluency or accuracy. But here's the real secret, the thing they don't always tell you. The examiners are not looking for a perfect English-speaking machine. Nope. They're looking for a human being who can actually connect and get their ideas across. So, our very first mission is to crack this speaking code. And it's all about one big mindset shift, moving away from performing for an examiner and just communicating with another person. Okay, let's pull back the curtain for a second and see what the examiners are really looking for. And I mean, straight from the official rulebook. This is where we completely debunk that myth of perfection, and honestly, the truth is going to be a huge relief. So check this out. Your final score is split into 4 equal parts. Each one is worth exactly 25%. So look, grammar is just one piece of the puzzle, 1/4. Fluency, vocabulary, pronunciation, they're all just as important. If you're obsessing over perfect grammar, you're basically ignoring 75% of your total score. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Look at the official description for a Band 7 score. Sure, a Band 5 makes errors with complex sentences. But look at Band 7. It says they use complex structures and, get this, some errors persist. That's right, it's written right there. Even top-scoring candidates are not expected to be perfect. So what does all this mean? It means the examiners reward ambition. Seriously, they want to see you try to use more interesting language. A complex idea with a tiny mistake is almost always valued more than a super simple, boring sentence that's technically perfect. Okay, so how do we actually do this in practice? Let's get into our first secret weapon, layering your grammar. This is how you show off your skills without tripping over your words. And it's all about connecting your ideas, not just listing them out like a shopping list. The core idea here is really simple, but it's a total game changer. Stop speaking in these short, choppy little sentences. Instead, you're going to use glue words, words like because, although, and which, to stick your thoughts together into one beautiful, flowing idea. Let's see it in action. The before answer is fine. It's correct, but it's very basic, right? Probably a Band 5. But the after answer, it takes the exact same ideas and weaves them together. It just sounds so much more natural, more advanced, and just like that, you're in Band 7 territory. All right, on to secret weapon number 2, building bridges. This one is all about getting rid of those awkward pauses that can really kill your fluency score. You know the biggest enemy of fluency? It's that dead air. Those moments where you're just searching for a word. It can really tank your score. So the solution has 2 parts. Use bridge phrases to give your brain a second to catch up, and always have a simple answer structure in your back pocket. And here is that structure. It's called the ARE method, and trust me, it's a lifesaver. First, give a direct answer. Simple. Then give your reason, usually kicking it off with because. And finally, give a specific example or a quick personal story. This little formula makes sure you never give a short, underdeveloped answer again. And now for our final secret weapon, and this might be my favorite, leverage emotion. This is what's going to make you sound like an interesting, real person instead of a robot reading a script. Plus, it's an amazing way to show off some more advanced vocabulary. Just look at the difference here. The traffic is bad. Yeah, okay, it's correct, but it's boring. Now, what if you said the traffic is absolutely horrendous or mind-numbingly slow? Whoa. Now that's vivid. It shows personality, and it shows you have a much better vocabulary. It's natural, and it's definitely high level. Okay, so the theory is great and all, but let's actually see how this works in the real world. We're going to take a totally normal question and give it a complete high score makeover using all 3 of our secret weapons. So here's our question, a classic opener you might get in part 1. Do you enjoy cooking? Seems simple enough, but it's the perfect opportunity to really shine.
And here is a very, very common answer. A Band 5 answer, it's correct, it gets the job done, but it's just so short and choppy. There's no real range there. We can do so much better. First up, let's sprinkle in weapon 1 layering. We'll use when and because to connect those 3 little ideas into one fluid, complex sentence. See, it already sounds way more natural.
Next, let's bring in weapon 2. We'll use a nice bridge phrase like, the main appeal for me is, to give our reason. Then we'll slide right into a specific example using our ARE method. Now the answer has some real structure and depth.
And for the finishing touch, let's inject weapon 3, emotion. Instead of just relaxing, we'll say it was surprisingly therapeutic. And the result wasn't just good, it was incredibly satisfying. This kind of language is so much more engaging, and it shows off a much wider range of vocabulary.
And there you have it, the full transformation. When you put all 3 weapons together, you get an answer that's detailed, it's structured, and it's full of great language. But more importantly, it sounds like a real person sharing a real experience. And that is the huge difference between just performing and truly communicating. So just remember, the IELTS speaking test is not about being a flawless robot. It's about being an effective communicator. When you layer your grammar, build those bridges, and leverage emotion, you can completely change your speaking from anxious to confident. So the only real question left is, are you ready to stop performing and start communicating?